Thanks for stopping by the obviously authentic channel. My name's Leah, that's spelled L-E-A and not L-E-A-H. So we're going to be talking about Hilda Season 2, Chapter 5, The Windmill. So it opens up with Hilda, her mom, and Tonto, which is the Nisser of Hilda's house, or Hilda's apartment or flat, or whatever you want to call it. And Hilda wants to use Nowhere Space kind of like as her own transportation system to get to go hang out with her friends. Well, Tonto tells her, like, girl, no, Nowhere Space is sacred to us. We don't want y'all up in there. It's not your little transportation area. And Hilda makes a point. She's like, well, you're letting mom use it as a cupboard, because Tonto is actually storing different things in Nowhere Space for Hilda's mom. But like Tonto says, she don't want to go in Nowhere Space. And plus, she makes me breakfast. Boo on that, Hilda. And I'm like, okay, Tonto. So Hilda's walking with Frida, David. Hilda's walking with Frida and David, and she's basically upset about Tonto not allowing her into Nowhere Space, because as we remember, last season, they needed Hilda. Like, Hilda had to go into Nowhere Space to help the Nissers in her community. But Tonto made it pretty clear, like, girl, we don't want you in there. So basically, the Sparrow Scouts, or Hilda and her friends, are tasked with getting their bird badge. So Hilda decides, as they're walking through the forest, Hilda is, like, educating them on, like, I guess a little bit of Nisser history that she knows. She said that back in the day, people used to give offerings to the Nissers. And if the Nisser liked the offering, they would stay at the house and protect it. And I guess, it kind of reminds me of the house elves on Harry Potter, but they not slaves, because the Nissers can go in and wherever they want to go. But that's basically what the Nissers are. They're basically house elves, but not slaves. So as we continue, they're going to the forest, and all of a sudden, when they get there, it's being deforested. So, like, they're tearing down, making way for, I guess, a new housing development. So they spot one of the highest ranking birds. Like, if they got a picture of, they would get the most points. And the kids decide to chase it through the woods, following the animals, and they happen upon a windmill. Well, there's someone there, and we find out that it's Victoria Von Gale. So y'all remember her last season. She was a crazy meteorologist lady who was, like, capturing the wind spirits and doing, like, experiments on them. So when David and when David and Hilda realize who she is, they're, like, visibly shocked and slightly scared, because she was crazy. And David is like, I don't want no parts of this. Like, let's roll out. But Frida and Hilda are, like, interested in her, because she says she started over, and she's like, she's changed. She's no longer that way. And I'm like, girl, lies you tell. But I'm with David. I was disappointed in Frida, because I'm like, Frida, you black. I don't know what type of black you are, but you're black, ma'am. And Hilda, you're adventurous. You know you can't trust everybody. But then again, Hilda trusts the woodman. I just feel like, why weren't y'all like David? David had his caution meter on. Like, he was like, this ain't right. Beep, beep, beep. Something wrong with her. And they didn't want to listen to David. But they just didn't want to listen to David. So we get to them going into her house. That's another thing. Stranger danger. Your parents ain't never taught y'all that. Why are you 12-year-olds and 11-year-olds walking up into some psychotic science lady's house? You know what? I need to stop putting, like, real life experiences on this, but stranger danger. So they're, like, in her windmill house. And that's another. Frida was like, oh my gosh, she has so many books. Girl, Frida, you are a witch in training. Take your ass to the library where the witches is at and go get their books. I bet you they got better books than that crazy lady. But we continue. And David decides to go outside because he ain't feeling Victoria, which I ain't feeling Victoria either. And basically, David, as he's taking a picture, he sees something, like, dip over to, like, a bush, and he grabs Frida. He like, girls, I'm out here. And they decide to follow whatever it was, because it went into the basement. Well, when they go in the basement, the basement seems normal, but then David actually stumbles upon an entrance to the lab that Veronica's doing, like, testing and stuff. And you see a Nisser or like it looks like a doll that is like just a doll of a Nisser, and it looks like Tonto. But turns out fake Tonto is alive, is crawling up on the walls like he's Spider-Man and like trying to chase them. So they freaking out. They run back upstairs and they're like, girl, what is this? And David, I was with David. David was like, that thing tried to kill us. And she was like, no, he's just grabby. I said, that thing tried to kill us, lady. And she was like, well, I made him. I'm like, Victoria is the scientist off the Jurassic Parks. She is the people that was out here making velociraptors, T-Rexes, and anything with sharp teeth that like to eat meat. That's one thing about Jurassic Park. Why would y'all make things that want to kill other things? I was cool with long necks, herbivores, hippos are herbivores. They can be, I think hippos are omnivores. But we normally see hippos eat vegetables. Like, I'd just bring back all the herbivores. Why you bringing back velociraptors and T-Rexes? That's Veronica. Not Veronica, Victoria. Victoria would have been out here making demons and stuff. So David is like, I don't trust this lady. But Frida and Hilda don't want to hear it. They decide they're going to help her fix up her windmill, which I was with David like, why? She got her fake Nissa. Let that thing do it. I was here for David this whole entire episode. But as we continue, Hilda goes home. Like, they're done. They're going back to like help her. But it's like, it's nighttime. And the fake Nissa actually follows, or the fake Tonto, because it looks like Tonto, actually follows Hilda home, and it's prying through the windows. And as Hilda is telling Tonto about the fake Nisser Victoria created, he's popping in and out of nowhere space, kind of like tidying up her room. And you can see the fake Nisser in the window, like look like doing this, like every time he pops, like he's learning, or like he's learning. He's trying to understand how to use nowhere space, or how nowhere space is used. So we end up finding out that Hilda is very much intrigued by the fact that Victoria is very much intrigued by the fact that Hilda has been to nowhere space. And that's when you realize how naive Hilda is, and Frida, because you can see how giddy Victoria is about learning about nowhere space. And I'm like, remember, this is the same lady who almost killed y'all last season, messing with the weather spirits. And my thing is, like, Victoria messes with things that have free will. Like, the Nissers can talk and have free will. Why are you creating things that are already here? Just like the wind spirits can talk and have free will. They go freely where they want to be, but you were trying to control it. It's very colonizer-ish, ma'am. And then she said something to let me know she a colonizer. So they continue, and they're fixing up the windmill because it's breaking down, and they finally get to where they fix everything because the kids stayed around and helped her, and the Nisser was helping. Well, you can tell the Nisser is suspicious of David, and David is suspicious of the fake Nisser. But David starts to feel bad because he was like, they've been helping Victoria for so long and nothing bad has happened. So he apologizes to her and the Nisser. So he's like, oh, let me go get the cookies, because they were sitting at the table eating cookies and drinking tea. And he was like, you know what? I'm going to go get the cookies to help y'all out. So as he goes into the kitchen, he sees a wood paneling on the wall popped out. And he's like, oh, I can fix this. And he puts his hand on it to like push it back in. When he does that, a secret compartment pops out, and it's files. So David decides, you know what? I'm going to steal these. So he takes the files, does a horrible job hiding them. But Veronica, I keep calling her Veronica, Victoria and the fake Nisser were like, they didn't notice it, which I was like, what? So we end up finding out that like Victoria is up to something she ain't got no business. I will note that like David and Hilda lost friendship points when it was time for them to go home, because they were going home because a storm was coming. Because Frida ran her behind back up in the windmill with the lady and the crazy little fake Nisser, talking about she needed a book. Girl, like I said, you are a witch who knows a witch at the library. Go to the library. And Frida and David lost friendship points because you don't never leave your friend with no psycho. Stranger danger, y'all. Stranger danger. And so, like, David goes home, and Tonto, the fake Tonto, follows David home because he notices the plans are gone. So he ends up taking the plans with him, but David was able to, like, save a piece of the plan. And it actually showed this, like, it looked like a crop circle, but it was like a summoning whatever rock formation that he notices early on in the episode. So he decides to give an offering to his Nisser because David made mention in the beginning of the episode that he didn't even know he had a Nisser because his Nisser is so private. So he does an offering. And side note, David's Nisser is cuter than Tonto to me. I don't know. I just like his design more. And he takes David into nowhere space and they pop up into Hilda's room. So Tonto is looking at the drawings and Tonto basically said like, oh, this is old magic, which I think old magic they're putting in reference to dark magic. Instead of saying dark magic, I think they're saying old magic because he's like, she didn't create the Nisser, she conjured it. So that means she had to use something that was dead to bring it back to life. So I'm like, see, she out here doing shit she ain't got nothing, no business doing. Victoria. Like I said, Victoria is the Jurassic Park scientist making demonic animals. So then they pop back over. They're running to the windmill because they find out that the windmill is actually a machine. And that's why she needed help patching everything up. And also there was like a crack on the wall that they were about to seal up. But she was like, nah, I need this space. Because Hilda made mention earlier in the episode that like the Nissers can come out of cracks wherever. So I guess she just wanted to use that one part because there was so many cracks. And so she is outside where that summoning area was, and she begins to chant, and like I guess it gives the Nisser, the fake Nisser, more life because now he's able to use nowhere space. So she hooks him up to the machine. She ties up Frida. And basically, this is when I was like, sis is a colonizer because Victoria basically said, why should the Nissers have access to all that access to nowhere space? It's an untapped resource. And she was like, we wouldn't have to bulldoze the forest. We could just put things in nowhere space. People could live in nowhere space. And I'm like, why are you trying to take something that is not yours to benefit yourself? You a colonizer, ma'am. And you should be ashamed of yourself. Like, that's the issue with Victoria. She has good, like she wants to do good, but the way she goes about it invalidates her wanting to do good things. Because nothing good comes of you trying to take free will from animals or like creatures. Because why are you trying to like go in somewhere that you're not welcome? Like, that's out of pocket. So they get there, they untie Frida, and Hilda and Tonto actually go into the nowhere space portal that they hooked the fake Tonto up, and that's where Victoria walked in it. So Victoria is like in awe of nowhere space because she finally got there. The only issue is the machine starts to go haywire. I think because of the storm, it like the windmill is spinning too quickly, and like Victoria is like, I calculated perfectly. And Tonto's telling Hilda like, we got to get out of here or we're gonna be trapped here forever. Like, we got to go. Because while they're in nowhere space, this like huge black portal opens up. And Hilda's like, come, like trying to get Victoria to come with her. Because she's like, okay, we get what you're doing. Like, you're wrong for what you're doing, but like, you're still a decent person. Like, come with us. And she's like, no, I'm not. Like, I'm where I belong. And she walks into the actual black hole area while David and Frida are outside, like fighting against the fake Tonto. And like when David rips off his face, it's a skull. So that means something had to die in order to make the fake Tonto. And it looked like a human skull. So I don't know if that was a child or maybe it was a dead Nisser and she just took it. I don't know. I feel like Victoria would commit murder, and in her mind she would justify it as it's good of science. She give me that. She give me that type of person. She gives me that anime villain that's like, we're gonna do these horrible things to further the human race. No, lady, no. So she's stuck in there. Like, the kids are able to get out. The animals actually take over the windmill. We do see this land that is like, it's a lake with all these weird looking trees and rock formations. And the skull of Tonto, or the fake Tonto, Frida kicked it into nowhere space because it was like beating up on David. And it was still like the mouth was still moving. So I wonder if they're going to be back in season 3. Like, is she going to use that skull to create a new Tonto or something? But she's stuck in like some other dimension, and it seems like she's alone, but hopefully there's someone there and she can be like, she can change from her ways. I don't know. I don't like her. But I do want to see her back next season, so hopefully they bring her back. But that's it. That's all, y'all. So yeah, be bravely authentic. Have a good week, a good weekend whenever you see this. Encourage yourself and just be you. Deuces.